I have a tendency to talk a lot. It's a byproduct of being neurotic. And the only time a neurotic is ever brief is when he's in bed. So, I thought that would get a bigger laugh. I have a tendency to talk a lot. The reason is because I believe that there is a perfect sentence, that there is a way to describe a moment in an absolutely perfect way. And it is for that reason that I went to grad school to study creative writing. It certainly wasn't to get a job. And so I went to school, and I went to school out in California, which wasn't for me, because it's too much sun, and I'm an East Coast person. So I'm out in California, and I go out to to grad school, and I'm studying creative writing. And it's December 23rd, and I'm going to fly back from California to Philadelphia to drive to New Jersey where I live. And the thing is, I don't like to fly. It's not that I'm afraid of flying or afraid of crashing. I just really don't like being next to people on an airplane. It's just, there's something about going 700 miles an hour next to a stranger that I don't know if it's 700 miles an hour, the engineer might know, but I don't know. Fast, next to a stranger that I can't get away from. And I can't take drugs because they make me sick, so my tactic is that I stay up, I schedule early flights, and I stay up all night, but then by the time I get on the plane, I am able to fall asleep, okay? So, I had been in California having a lot of fun with my, writerly friends, and we're basically drinking and making bad life decisions. And then I go up to my room, it's like 2 in the morning, I go up in my room, I get all packed up, I'm ready to, just stay up and get in my cab and go to the airport. And I get a phone call and they tell me that my flight's been canceled. And so on December 23rd, in LAX, which is one of the busiest airports in the world, I get in a cab and I go and I have to find another flight. So I go, I stand in line, I end up cajoling a lady, she gets me a flight that's going to go from LAX to Miami, from Miami to Philadelphia. Everybody with me? So, it is 8 in the morning. I have not slept for well over 24 hours after a period of drinking and writing and, debauchery. And so I make I look at my ticket says that I have to fly at 12. And I make the decision that I can't sleep, right? Because if I sleep, then I won't sleep on the plane. So I decide to go to a bar. And the only bar available in LAX at 8 in the morning that's open is Chili's. Because Chili's understands, the human condition. So I stumble into a Chili's, and I look and I see a guy, and there's this guy sitting at the bar, the only guy at the bar other than me. And this guy's sitting there, and he's got a trucker hat on, and he's got kind of a torn up shirt, he's got oil on his hands, looks like a manly man. And I'm not that manly of a man. I'm a man, but kind of like, oh, how delightful, I'm like that kind of, So I'm like a 21st century fop, basically, right? So I go and I sit next to him, and I want to man it up, and I'm like, what are you drinking? It's like Boilermaker. That's my southern accent, by the way. And I end up sitting there for the better part of 3 hours drinking with this guy. We're drinking the Boilermaker, which is like Budweiser and a shot of Jack, right? So I look at my watch, and I'm having a conversation with this guy, and I look at my watch, and I gotta go. So I go, and I get up, and I walk away. And as I'm walking away, Rodney, which was his name, by the way, Rodney looks at me and goes, I'll tell you something, Andrew, you are peculiar. I think he meant gay, but I'm not. You are peculiar, but you're a good guy. And thanks, Rodney. So I go, and I reach into my pocket, and I pull out my phone, and I text my girlfriend at the time. And I'm texting her, some dude in a trucker hat just called me peculiar, right? And because it was a great sentence, that's 4 minutes. 4 minutes, right? And I go, and I'm texting my girlfriend, and as I'm texting my girlfriend, some guy in a trucker hat just called me peculiar. I bump into a big pillowy belly. And I look up, and it's Jeff Garlin. Anybody know who he is? He plays Jeff Green in Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Yeah? So I bump into Jeff Garlin, and I look up, and I am drunk, and really tired, right? And I got 2 flights ahead of me. And I look up, and I look at Jeff Garlin, and I go, oh. And he goes, oh. And I look over, and it's Larry David. And I don't know if you don't know me, so you don't know this. Larry David. Other people have Jesus, and I hear he's quite a fella. But for me, it's Larry David. Like through and through, that guy like boils all of human existence down to like annoying minutia, and that's life, right? And I look and I see Larry David, and had I been sober, I'd have kissed him right on the face. But but in like a manly way. Rodney would have done, right? I look at Larry David, right? I look at Larry David, and I go, oh, and he goes, oh. And I look between the two of them, two guys who inspire me so much as a writer, as a guy who tries to be funny. And I go, I think we're done here. And Larry David laughs. Right? I make Larry David